is for year 11 methods. We're looking at the chapter review extended response question 7. Now this is a speed question. It says a man walks a total distance of 70 kilometers. He walks X kilometers at 8 kilometers per hour and Y kilometers at 10 kilometers per hour. So we've got two different speeds and distances here. Now, part A asks us to find the length of time, so we're trying to find the time. He walks at 8 kilometers per hour in terms of X, and the length of time, he walks 10 kilometers per hour in terms of Y. So I know that speed equals distance over time, and we're trying to find time. That's the dimension. So rearrange the equation. Remember the trick, you can swap these two to make t the subject, distance on speed. Okay, so we need to find the time for the two different segments. So the first segment, the 8 kilometers per hour, we know that the distance he traveled was, we don't know what it actually is, we know that it's just x. And we know that the speed in which he travels is 8. For the second length, we know that the distance is y. We don't know what it is, we know it's y. And we know that he's traveling at 10 kilometers per hour. So these two t's are times in terms of x and in terms of y, in which he actually walked those distances. So for part B, we're asked to find the average speed in terms of x and y. Now, I know that average speed is the total distance divided by the total time taken. So we know that the total distance is 70 because that's the length of the whole journey. The total time taken is simply the addition of these two times, because this is the time it takes to travel at 8 kilometers per hour, and this is the time it takes to travel 10 kilometers per hour. So if you add them together, that's the total time. So it'll be x on 8 plus y over 10. Now, I shouldn't, as a method student, I shouldn't leave my fractions like that, because that's not a nice answer. So what you can do is you can take a common denominator of 40. Now I know that 8 goes into 40 5 times, so that'll be 5x, and 10 goes in 40 4 times, so 4y. So I'm simply combining the fractions together. Now I can move this, here's a little neat trick, I can move this up to the top here. You can do whatever way you want, but that's just a trick I've learned. So 4 sevens are 28, so 2800 divided by 5x plus 4y. Now for part C, and that's the average speed in terms of x and y. For part C, if the man walks 10 kilometers for the time he was walking at 8 kilometers per hour, and 8 kilometers per hour for the time he was walking at 10 kilometers per hour, he walks 72 kilometers in total. So this is a bit tricky. All it's saying is that the time he originally walked at 8 kilometers per hour, he's now spending the time he walked at 10 kilometers per hour, and vice versa. So what that's essentially saying is that originally we know that he walked for the 8 kilometer per hour length, x on 8. That's the time he took. But he's actually walking at 10 kilometers per hour now. Similarly, the time he spent walking at 10 kilometers per hour is now he's now walking at 8 kilometers per hour. The reason why I multiply this together because I know that distance is speed times time. So we know that this distance plus this distance has to equal 72. Now, we're asked to find x and y because we actually want to know what the distance is. And we know that originally x, the distance x plus the distance y has to add up to 70 because that's the total distance. So essentially we've got two simultaneous equations. Now I don't want to do this by hand because this is an extended response section, so we're meant to use a calculator to help us. So I'm going to employ the aid of my calculator. I'm going to go to main. I'm going to go on keyboard and I'm going to click this symbol, maths1, and click the simultaneous equation symbol. And I'm going to enter this directly on the calculator. So we know that's 10x divided by 8 plus 8y divided by 10. And we know that equals 72. Because if you switch the things around, the total distance is 72. Originally, we know x plus y, because that represents the total distance, equals 70. And we're solving for x and y. So when I solve this, I get x equals 320 on 9 and y equals 310 on 9. So we get a result of x equals 320 on 9 and y equals 310 on 9. And the units of these are in kilometers. And that's how you do this very complicated question.